there's a far-right congressman who has called the insurrectionists at the Capitol political prisoners, and he has virtually called for bloodshed. I kid you not. Let me bring you to this GOP far-right insane person. Madison Cawthorn appeared to suggest another Stop the Steal type rally in DC is coming, okay? Leading up to that, however, he decided to be very sympathetic to January 6 rioters and terrorists. Let me go to the video. Here it is.
What are you doing to support the 535 Americans that were held captured from January 6th?
Political hostages, make no doubt. So this is something that we are trying to figure everything out about. There are some criminal activities going on when my office literally is sick of. We have a Mont Blanc to be able to ask almost any federal agency any question we want. And when we're seeking answers, they are giving us the biggest runaround that you possibly can imagine. And so the big problem is we don't actually know where all the political prisoners are. And so if we were to actually be able to go and try and bust them out, and let me tell you, the reason why they've taken these political prisoners is because they're trying to make an example.
When are you going to call us to Washington again?
We're actively working on that one. I don't have an answer to that one right yet, but man, we are actively working on this. We have a few plans in motion that I can't make public right now. And there are a lot of Republicans who don't want to talk about this because they say, oh, that's too controversial. What's controversial is we have 536 people who are being held in solitary confinement for 23 hours out of the day, who are not being allowed to be able to have religious freedoms, who are having their rights stripped away from them, not being incapable of being able to have someone come represent them. It's political hostages. And this is something that when I first started hearing about, I was like, no way that's going on. But my friends, I'll tell you, with the small amount of investigating we've done, it is going on.
Very dangerous individual there, a United States congressman. This congressman refers to the January 6th attackers, the terrorists there, as political hostages and political prisoners. That insinuates that someone should bust them out. Someone should rescue them. But he does not stop there. He goes on to even talk about bloodshed. Here it is.
Everything that we're sitting here talking about, we're all so passionate right now. The things that we are wanting to fight for, it doesn't matter if our votes don't count.
That's exactly right.
Because if our election systems continue to be rigged and continue to be stolen, then it's going to lead to one place, and that's bloodshed.
Right.
And I will tell you, as much as I'm willing to defend our liberty at all costs, there's nothing that I would dread doing more than having to pick up arms against a fellow American. And the way that we can have recourse against that is if we all passionately demand that we have election security in all 50 states.
Okay, he says there's nothing he would dread more than having, I guess, to kill, right? Take up arms against fellow Americans. Bloodshed is what he's calling for. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a current United States congressman who does not have a great relationship with the truth, by the way, okay? You can do your own independent research on that and find it. Let me remind you, he also repeated the false claims about 2020. The election fraud claims he promoted, completely untrue. He claims that Trump actually won the election and it was stolen from him. He's also anti-mask and an anti-vax guy. But what else is new with these guys, right? So in response, the questions about these remarks from the congressman there, his spokesperson, who's trying to do damage control, the spokesperson is Luke Ball. And Luke Ball said, and I quote, Congressman Cawthorn was referring to actively working on getting answers about political prisoners following January 6th. They're not political prisoners. Nothing else. He is not actively working on any protest. To assert otherwise would completely take his remarks out of context. Wait a minute. Hold up. The man literally said the word bloodshed. How are we taking anything he's saying out of context? He provided significant context at that meeting, all right? The spokesperson also said the congressman wants due process for the prisoners and does not believe that is what they are currently receiving. He was not advocating for any form of legal action, only that they receive full due process. They already are receiving full due process. The hell are you talking about? They're incarcerated. They've been arrested. Some of them have already made bond, those that were given bond. Others have not. They will have a court date set. This is called due process. This is literally what due process looks like for everybody else. Why is it not due process now as it relates to these folks? Adrienne, what are your thoughts here?
I think these tropes that Cawthorn is promulgating are extremely problematic for our nation, because not only does it undermine our justice system to the extent that there is justice, but it continues to perpetuate the lies that really led to January 6th insurrection attempt. And it really does kind of reinforce a narrative that we are going to have more of this, but also that you cannot trust our election system or the justice system. And it's individuals who benefit from it most who have been supporting it forever. Now they're turning on it and failing to see the actual inadequacies and deficiencies of the system. And it's essentially just falsities. And Cawthorn, he's in a position of public trust and integrity. He should be held accountable for this. And you know what? I know we love this thought of freedom of speech and whatnot. There needs to be consequences, because if you are in a leadership position and yet you can't even keep your account on Twitter because you lying so hard, you should not be able to continue to be in your job. The fact is that people are being lied to, and they, as a result, are engaging in all sorts of nonsense that is hurting our nation.
Yeah, and he's inciting riotous behavior. And when it happens, he's going to say through his spokesperson, no, that's not what the congressman said. You all took that out of context. And let me remind everyone, there are significant scandals that have been reported about this congressman, including sexual assault allegations, lies saying that his friend left him for dead in a car accident that paralyzed him. The friend said that's exactly what did not happen. And it goes on and on. But with all of these misrepresentations or accounts of misrepresentation of the truth, he continues to ascend in the GOP because he continues to say exactly what they want to hear. Right? They don't care about anything else.